It's time to focus on the things you need, the things you deserve. You deserve a healthy body, supplements that get you moving and keep you moving, that make you feel good, look good, do good. And they shouldn't contain GMOs, artificial ingredients, or heavy metals, ever. Supplements that are clinically studied, use proven absorption technologies, are designed by scientists, and are ethically sourced and produced. Supplements with everything you need, nothing you don't. You deserve a company that you can trust, that's dedicated to safe manufacturing practices and third-party testing, that ensures the highest quality of effectiveness from extraction of ingredients all the way to the composition of the packaging. Wait a second. You deserve to see the process. You deserve a company led by a CEO with a deep belief in the power of people, dedicated to inspiring entrepreneurs to achieve success. A company with a phytonutrient chemist and expert on natural molecules who is obsessed with human health and has your best interest in mind to design its products. A board comprised of talented doctors from around the world. You deserve to be surrounded by people you trust and look up to. Empowered ambassadors that inspire wellness every day. Leaders who are rooting for you to be the best version of yourself. A community that works hard and plays hard. You deserve to experience adventures that take you around the world, and you deserve to be recognized for your hard work. It's time to get what you deserve. It's time to shift your focus. 3.
Well, hello, everybody. It's great to be here with you today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're at around the world. I'm very excited to be on here this call with you today. To get a chance to do the Global Opportunity Call for 3 is something I don't take lightly, and so I'm excited about that. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Lance Smith. I'm in San Diego, California. And we are very excited about where we're at right now with 3. And we're going to talk about something I'm very excited about, which is the compensation plan that we put together at 3 from the conception of this company. And before I get into that, let me go ahead and just jump into a little bit of our background and give you the story of why I'm so excited about being part of 3 and why I believe the future is extremely bright for this legacy company. So my wife and I, we met when we were 19 years old. We worked at a retail store. We worked there for 3 or 4 years, and after 3 or 4 years, I was one of the youngest managers in the chain in my early 20s, and I got a letter one day that said, we regret to inform you, but all 50,000 people here at this company are going to lose their jobs in the next 3 months. And while I was able to pivot, a lot of adults that I saw were crying because they had their whole career. They'd spent 10, 15, 20, 30 years with this company, and they lost their jobs like that. And so I kind of lost faith in the traditional model of going to work for somebody else and hoping that they take care of you. After 3 or 4 years of dating with Tracy, it became a bank teller. I went to work at a bigger lumber company doing estimates. And after a couple of years of that, I got her to marry me because I told her that we'd do well, we'd have a nice house, we'd travel the world, and she could shop whenever she wants. So you had no choice to marry me, and she did. But 2 years later, unfortunately, I was broke. And I remember coming home one day and realizing that that she had been in tears all day because creditors had been calling her. And she didn't say it directly, but basically she said, hey, this isn't what you promised. And she was correct. I knew I needed to do something different. And so I started to search. In my early 20s, I started looking at franchises, vending machines. I looked at golf course driving ranges, laundromats. I was looking for anything I could do that would get me out of the corporate world and give me the financial freedom that I was looking for. And fate would have it, somebody introduced me to this industry. And to say it absolutely changed my life would be an understatement. It really wasn't what I was necessarily looking for, but it had all the boxes that I was looking to check. It was a high reward, low risk opportunity. It was something I could do in my spare time. It was something I could do when I wanted to work, where I wanted to work, and with who I wanted to work. And there were people that were very successful that were very willing to help teach me and coach me along the path. And so for all those reasons, we said yes in our early 20s. By the time I'd love to say we got wealthy overnight. We didn't. The first couple of years were probably mostly learning. Year number 3, it started to come in a big way. By the time we were 23, 24, we left our jobs at about 4 times what we were making full time. And by the time we were 26, we became millionaires, and we bought the house that we live in today. And for the last 3 decades, I've been absolutely blessed by this industry. But I will tell you this, the first company I joined, it's kind of like you can't choose your parents, you can't really choose a company necessarily when you first get involved in this industry, because likely somebody came over and showed you this idea of 3 and you jumped on board. And with the first company we got involved with, it was an older company. It had been around for, I think, 26 years before we got involved. And it was an older compensation. It was what they call a unilevel breakaway, where every time the groups got big, somebody would break off and your income would get cut in half. And it really was counterintuitive, because you really didn't necessarily want leaders to get too big, because if they would cut your income, and they would take the majority of it. And so I was with that company for 20 years. We built it up, put a couple 100,000 people in that company, over $1 billion in sales over a 20-year time frame. And then that company made some changes that were really good for the company, but they weren't good for us. And so we parted ways and went in another direction. And I started looking at compensation plans. And over the last probably 2 decades, I've really focused on compensation plans, what works, what doesn't work, and why they work and why they don't work. And that really has ultimately led us to a meeting with Kim and Samson, the formation of 3. And I'm going to tell you right now, I couldn't be more excited about where we're at right now and what we've got going on. Last week we just passed our 2-year anniversary. We've been breaking records in the industry. The whole buzz is talking about, the whole industry is a buzz talking about what's going on at 3. And man, we're just getting started. But foundationally, we've got an incredible compensation plan in place. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to try to make this as simple as I can. And I'm going to do a little bit of a story format, because sometimes you remember stories better than you just do bullet points. And so with that, let me go ahead and throw my glasses on. Okay, so let's talk about the financial rewards plan. This was put together. It wasn't just hey, let's figure out how to make money. Each company that comes into our space, and there's thousands of them that have done it. What they'll do is they'll have a product, they'll have a certain margin that they've got to go by, and then they're going to go out there and move these products. And these products will, for every dollar that's moved, maybe anywhere from 30% or 25% with the first company I was with, up to 45 or 50% will be paid out. Now the question is, how do you pay those out? And there's a lot of different ideas on how you do that. Within our space, there's I would say dozens of different types of compensation plans. But I will tell you this. I went ahead, and we're going to talk about the binary compensation plan, which is what this is. And when I left my first company after 20 years, a lot of my leaders decided to stay, and I'm still great friends with them. We wish them the very best. But we decided to move on, and we went from a unilevel breakaway comp plan to a version of a binary plan that was totally separate from what we have here at 3. And it was totally different than what we had with the unilevel compensation plan. But it was my first taste of a binary. And literally, we had only probably 30%, 40% of my team followed us over to this new company. But what we found is that we actually made 3 times the income off a binary comp plan than we did off the unilevel breakaway, just because the way the compensation plan was set up and because the amount of payout was higher. But before I go into the detail, I know that we're going to talk about 7 different ways of making money. And I know this is a variation, and sometimes these are changed. And when you talk to a global market like this, there's going to be some variations. So the first thing I recommend you do is take a look at the financial reward plan. You can find that in your back office, but it goes over all of the different things. It'll go over it in your native country, wherever it is you're watching this from. And it will cover the details as far as specifically how to get paid. Now, you don't have to know this to get paid, but if you're like my personality, I wanted to know exactly, what I needed to do to maximize the compensation plan. And you can find this in your back office. It's a 2-page brochure. If you log in and go over documents and media, there's a PDF up back there that's called Financial Reward Plans. And I remember I recommend you take a look at that and print that out and actually have that available for you. There are people that will not move until they actually know how they get paid. Other people don't care. I've got some of the top income earners right now in 3. I think if we did a quiz on how you get paid, I'd think some of them wouldn't know. But that's okay. It doesn't matter. If you create the volume, the company is going to pay that out automatically. And so that's a very good thing. I'm not going to make any income claim on this, so don't take it that way. This is for educational purposes only. And I'm going to put on here that changes may apply. I know in North America, we just stopped the Founders Pack just not too long ago. And because of that, there's going to be changes. So go back and check this on a regular basis, and that will keep you up to date as far as where we're at. And again, it's a little tough going into a global call, because I know each market, a lot of them have different currencies. They have different variations, but it's, again, it's in your back office, and you can find it right here. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about the different incomes. And so there's 7 ways to get paid. The first way is retail commissions and product bonuses. These are based on moving volume or sales. Now, this is for North America, but as we go launch these different companies countries around the world, we launched Hong Kong this last year. We're going to be in Malaysia, and we're going to be in Taiwan, and launching out there and going from an NFR, or not for resale, to a on the ground. And as that happens, you're going to see this come in place. But North America, as it stands right now, there's a 25% commission that comes in when you sell a product. And this is kind of a cool thing. When we first joined 2 years ago, Tracy got on the collagen product, and she put a before and after picture online. And, and it was only a 3 or 4 day after picture. And I mean, we launched the company, we got the products in because we were testing them ahead of time. And literally the second we launched the company, I got an email that Tracy posted these before and after pictures, and it said, you've got, I think it was $17.50. And I asked Tracy, I said, what's that? And she said, it's mine. And that's where this came from. That was the retail commission that kicked in, which is a cool thing. And so that's one way of creating income. The second one is the product introduction bonus. And again, these packs are going to vary per market, and some are going to have founders packs. Some aren't, like North America. But just for an idea, the product introduction bonus comes when you have a leader that gets involved, that wants to create an income with this, and they decide to get a pack. And the value, we put these packs together it very strategically, because we want people to have the product. We want to have them get the best discount, and we want them to start off right. If you get involved and buy one thing, you can't. I looked at businesses. You can't go buy a 7-Eleven or some type of a store and have nothing on the shelves. And so that's why these are put in place. And it's a benefit for them because we get a discount, but it also creates volume at the beginning. And so the product introduction bonus, there's an intro pack that is $200 and 100 CV. And again, this varies per market, but there's a $25 PIB that comes in from that. There's a premium pack that comes in that's $600 and 300 CV. And it's a $100 PIB. And for those of you that are new and that don't know what a CV is kind of like a frequent flyer mileage or that sort of thing, where you get points for everything that you buy. And that allows us to go adjust with the different currencies and the different countries and the different regulations and things that are out there. And so you don't need to necessarily worry about that. Typically, it's about a 50% difference. So if $200 is going to be about a 50% CV, and that's the commissionable volume that we pay back on. And so again, the premium pack comes in and it's $100 PIB. The next one is a business builder pack, which is $1,360 and it's 680 CV. And you get $245 for that one. And again, check your back office and check your income disclosure statement, because it'll go through all the details if these do change. And then there's a pro pack or the founders pack, which is a $350 PIB. And so that's a great way to get somebody started at the very beginning. And again, as you go through this, you're going to find that as you get started, most of your income is going to come from this, and maybe from customers that are getting involved at the very beginning. And so these two incomes are based on sales. Now, the next two incomes are a little bit more complicated. I'm going to go a little bit more depth on these two. There's the team commissions, which are global and seamless. And this is the income based on growing your team and helping your teams. And that's really what this is about, is if you decide you want to build this and you decide you want to have an income and build it in a big way, this is where most of your income is going to come from. And again, I'm going to do this kind of in a story format here in a second to give you a better understanding in real life, really how it works. So the first one is the team commissions. And again, it's global and seamless. And that's what's so cool about our opportunity, is we could literally be sitting here in San Diego. We could have somebody get involved in Malaysia who knows somebody else who knows, who's involved in Japan. They can get involved in our business. They can go ahead and they can register somebody in Taiwan who knows somebody who is in Los Angeles. And I can do a meeting next week and literally be helping people in several different countries at the same time. And I love that about the binary compensation plan. And most companies, the first company I was with, I had to sign up in every country I started and started at zero in every company. And so I can't tell you how great this is to have a seamless binary. So this is kind of how the idea works. The team commissions are based on 300 and 600 CV cycles. And so basically what it says is you have to have 600 CV on one side and you have to have 300 CV on another side. And so how are we going to do that? Well, first of all, you're going to get involved. So you're going to get involved. You're going to have somebody who's an enroller or your sponsor, however you call it in your country, but you're going to have somebody who's going to get you involved. And I recommend, especially at the beginning, is spend some time listening to them. What's so great about our industry is they get benefit by helping you succeed. And once I realized when I got involved, I said, you mean to tell me that you're going to help me? You're not going to charge me. And I don't make money if you don't, or you don't make money if I don't make money. And they kind of said, well, yeah, if you don't do volume, we don't get anything. And so I said, okay, go ahead, knock yourself out. And that really is what they're there for. And so make sure you get a chance to listen to them. And so as you get involved, there's a couple things that are going to have to happen. Number one is you're going to have to register. in North America, it's $30, but it's a really nominal amount, and that gives you the back office, that gives you access to all the training, all the teaching, all the websites, and the things that help track your business globally. And to do that on your own would cost you tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. And literally for $30, you get a turnkey business that you're able to operate right away. The second thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to activate your business. Now, to do it, you have to do at least 100 CV. Now, obviously, you can go in the back office and you can just buy 100 CV, but I really don't recommend that. I recommend you get in where you fit in, but I also recommend that you stretch. When I looked at this, I thought to myself, I'd like to have the health benefits of the product, and that's certainly a great thing. But I really got involved in this because I wanted to create an income because I was broke and I made my wife a lot of promises. And so when I got involved, we decided that we really wanted to go do this. And so we got involved and actually bought the Founders Pack right off the bat, which is equivalent to the Pro Pack today in North America, or the Founders Pack internationally. Because it had the most volume, it was the best value. We were able to get a discount off the products, but also gave us products for ourselves, so we had our own testimony. But more importantly, it gave us products that we could actually sell to people around us. And literally by the time those packs came in, because when we launched, we had to wait a little bit to get those products in. By the time the products got in, they were already sold. Tracy had already sold them all, and we had to buy another pack to refill our inventory. And so you're going to want to pick a pack, but again, you're going to find that your team will duplicate what you do, and if you get enough for the small amount, they're going to likely get in for the small amount, and so that's just the way that it works. And then the third thing you want to do is you want to qualify. You want to go ahead and put one active right, and you want to put one active left. That somebody registers, does 100 CV, and then qualify. That's really how this whole thing is set. And so now that you've got that in place, you're set. You're active, you got your pack, you registered, and now we're going to go out there and start to talk to people. And what you're going to find off the bat, it's kind of like what I did. There's a lot of folks that are out there, and originally, and again, you talk to the person who got you involved. But we talked to people. A lot of people were close to us, and a lot of people close to us. They knew we were broke. They knew we were struggling at the very beginning when we first got involved in the industry. And so what immediately happened for us is we didn't get a lot of leaders that got involved. We got a lot of people that were customers that kind of, and those are the little C's that are jumping in there on top. Even to this day, Tracy usually keeps somewhere between 90 to 150 customers on an ongoing basis. And it's just naturally because, people talk about things they tried that they like. It comes natural. She loves the products. Of the 36 years that we've been in the industry, I've never seen products that get the results like we have over here, that have the third-party testing. And I mean, I tell people my full-time job is listen to people tell me stories about what this product's doing for them. And so naturally, you're going to get customers that are going to be attached to you, and that's going to add volume to you. That's going to help in the compensation plan. And I'll show you that in just a minute. And so from that, you're going to go out and talk to people. And let's say you talk to a friend of yours named Bob. Let's say Bob is in the real estate industry, and here in the United States, like around the world, real estate's having a tough go right now. Reproductive rates are declining, interest rates are high. And so let's say Bob says, you know what, I like real estate, but until then I want to get involved, and I want to have an additional income. And so Bob gets involved. And because you got involved on the Founders Pack, Bob gets involved in the Founders Pack. And so you have 980 CV that go to you, and you get your first PIB bonus of $350 that goes directly to you. Kind of a cool thing for the first person getting sponsored in, and gets you cash in your pocket that helps you pay for the product that you already have, as well as help Bob, build his business. Now, Bob comes from an office, and what do we do with Bob? We're going to register him for $30. We're going to activate him, which we've done. Now we need to get him qualified. And so we start, we get Bob, and we go through the 4 income generating activities. We get a names list, we invite, we show the program, and then we follow through. And again, get with your support team. They'll teach you how that process works. But in that process, we do a meeting for the office, the real estate office, and he gets 2 people in. Bob gets Tina, and Bob gets John. Both of these people are kind of frustrated like Bob and are looking for additional income. And so those 2 get involved. And because Bob got involved with the Founders Pack, these 2 get involved with the Founders Pack as well. And now what you've got is you've got Bob, who just qualified as a brand ambassador, or is a qualified brand ambassador. He has one on his right, one on his left that are both active. Now, he actually did that before you did. Is that okay? Yeah, that's okay. You're going to find as you go build this business, there's going to be times when you are, beating the crowd and you're going faster than everybody else. And there's going to be times you're going to have leaders show up that may hit a rank faster, and that's okay. They're part of your team, and you benefit from that. And so that's a good thing. Now Bob's PIB bonuses, he gets 350 times 2. So he just made $700 on his PIB bonuses. So that literally has helped him recoup a lot of the investment he's already put in. Now, what that work looks like as far as numbers wise is you've got 980 CV times 3, which is 2,940 CV on your left side. Now, team commissions is based on cycling. If you go back to see that you got to have 300 and you've got to have 600. Obviously, your left side has over 600 CV, but it's just sitting there waiting for you to go out there and put somebody on your other side. Now, I'll tell you, you need to be active, which is doing at least 60 CV a month. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But as long as you do, that volume doesn't go away. It's a non-flushing binary that you're part of, which is a very exciting thing as this gets big, and I'll explain again why in a minute. So what happens here is you go out there and you talk to your neighbor. Your neighbor, Sally. Let's say she cuts hair. So Sally gets involved, and maybe she's struggling a little bit financially, but she sees the benefits of the products. A lot of her customers that want to look better and feel better come to her, and she says, I could do this. And so she's not doing real well financially, so she gets involved just to start off with the intro pack. She does 100 CV, and now you are officially a qualified brand ambassador. You also get a $25 PIB bonus for her getting involved. And so that's great. Now, Sally goes out there and talks to one of the gals she works with. Her name's Gina. Gina gets involved at 100 CV. She gets the intro pack. Sally gets that $25 PIB bonus. And from there, Gina talks to Fred. Now, Fred's the guy who actually owns the salon that both of them work at. He sees the benefit of this, wants to maybe put the products on the shelf out there. And so when he sees this, he gets involved, and he does the premium pack. And does the 300 CV. And so what ends up happening is right now you've got 500 CV on your right side. You've got 2,940 on your left side. Now, the good news is that this happens in real time. The other good news is you don't have to calculate it. But the second that that's hit, it triggers what we call a cycle bonus. And what that cycle does is it automatically takes 600 CV off your left side, takes 300 CV off your right side. So now you have 2,340 CV left on your left side. You're down to 200 CV on your right side, and you get a cycle bonus for $35. And again, it's going to adjust based on what country you're in and what currency that you're on. But that's a $35 cycle. Now, the thing that's cool about 3 that we factored in there is that if you've got something we call the Happy 10, and the Happy 10 is a combination of the people in blue that are your personals and the customers up on top. The volume that you do, once you do that 1,000 CV in a month on your front line and your customers, you're what they call a Happy 10, or you have the Happy 10, and that goes to a $45 cycle. Which is a very cool thing. It also takes your cap as far as how many times you can cycle in a week. It ups it from 500 to 600, and it also, as you'll see when we go through the leadership check match, what it does is it actually takes your front level, the people you work directly with, it takes you from 20% to 30%, and I'll explain that in a second. But for this illustration, you're now at a $45 cycle. And so what's cool about this, again, the volume will carry over. That 2,340 is going to stay on your left side, one more 100 points on your right side, and you're going to cycle again. And again, that happens in real time. And here's the cool thing about it is we have a cap that goes from 500 cycles per week. If you don't have the Happy 10 and you just got involved and sponsored just these 2 and they built themselves out, or if you have the Happy 10, it goes to 600 per week. And so what kind of income can that mean? Again, this is for illustration purposes, but it doesn't take a lot of math to figure out. There's a lot of income that you can make per week. And even though we're only a couple of years old, we've already got a handful of folks that are maxing this thing out, which is exciting to see the potential of where this can go and what it can do for people financially. And so from here, let's say you go ahead and you keep talking to people. You sponsor Sam. Sam does 100 points. He gets involved. He's somebody that you've known for a long time. Kind of talks a good game. Maybe he doesn't go out there and build it, but he does lead you to somebody. And by the way, I'm going to show you that this is a really important point. So here's you go ahead and sponsor Sam. And Sam does 100 points. You get a $25 PIB for him because he's in blue and he's a personal of yours. He's first generation. But you also get spillover volume for Tina and Bob. Now, Sam is underneath Tina and Bob, but they don't sponsor Sam. And that's what we call spillover volume. Now, you're not guaranteed spillover volume, but if you have spillover volume, be grateful for it, because that's basically saying that the person above you is going to continue to build down right and left. And I told people years ago when I started this, I said, if you get involved in my team with me, I'm going to build 2 legs and we're going to build a legacy business. And so all the people we've got involved, we put folks underneath them and continue to do that. That's where spillover comes in. But let's say Sam sponsors Big, and Big is somebody who either was involved in the industry and came over, decided to build it in whatever country, or he could be somebody like my partner, Mike and Linda McCormick, who got involved. He was a successful attorney. She had a PhD and worked in the pharmaceutical industry, and they got involved. I think they sponsored 62 people or 70 people the first couple of months they were involved, and literally hit a six-figure income within a 6-month time frame of joining the industry from scratch. It could be either of those, but let's say big, whoever they are, whether they got in brand new or whether they've been in the industry, let's say over the next few months, they go put 100 founders pack in, and now you can see where this can start to build itself out. Now, how does that adjust as we move over to the leadership matching bonuses? And this is an important one. The leadership matching bonuses go like this. Your first generation, you're going to get 20%. If you've got the happy 10, you're going to get 30%. For 2-star, you get 2 generations in depth, and you get 15% on the second generation. And the next generation, you get 10%. And then once you're 4-star, you get 4 generations in depth, all the way up to 7-star, where you get 5% each leg down. Now, how does that actually look in real time? So you get involved, and let's say you've been involved for about 6 months. Now, let's put up the people that you got involved personally. You sponsored Bob, you sponsored Sally, you sponsored Sam. You're going to be putting some other folks in there because you've got to have at least 6 legs in place to hit the 3-star level anyway. And so you're going to continue to sponsor out there and put those people in place. And once they're in place, and you've got them in there, because they're a first generation, if you don't have the happy 10, you're going to make $7 every time they cycle. Or if you have the happy 10, you're going to make $10.50 a cycle. And I'm just going to show this off the $7 numbers, but it basically looks like this. Let's say that this month, or you could do this week, that Bob makes $2,000. Well, your check for that is going to be $400. Let's say Sally makes $1,000. Your check for that is going to be $200. Sam goes out there and he doesn't do any volume, and so you don't get anything for that one. And I'm sorry, but that's how that one works. If there's no volume, there's no check that goes along with it if he doesn't cycle. And so it's in your best interest to help him cycle, or go build depth underneath him and find somebody who does. And that's how the first generation works. Now, if you have the happy 10, you can go ahead and add another 50% on top of each of those. But that's how the first generation works. It's 20 to 30% for the first level. Now, let's go ahead and put up Bob and Sally and Sam's people. So Bob sponsored Teen and John, sponsored Gina, sponsored Big. That's $525 a cycle for the next generation. And so when Tina makes $1,000, you get $150. When John makes $800, you get $120. Gina makes $800, you make $120. When Big makes $5,000, you make $750. Now, this part is really cool because Big is somebody you didn't really know, but he got involved and knocked it out of the park. And your biggest check match is somebody you didn't know 6 months ago, and it's 2 generations in depth. And that is, again, the beauty of this compensation plan. It rewards the people who go out there and build it. And if you find a leader anywhere in your teams, you're going to benefit from them as long as they're within the 7 generations. But even after that, they can be way down in depth, 100 generations. It still counts for your team commissions. And so it's a very cool thing. And so from there, Fred is the 3rd level. $350 per cycle on that one. And so if he makes $1,000, you make $100, and it continues from there. And I can go out and, draw this thing down 7 generations in depth, but you get the idea that the bigger this gets, the bigger the income gets. And so that was the 2 that are the toughest. Now, the next couple are pool incomes. There's a global leadership pool that's based on rank and volume. And there's a founders pool, bonus pool that is available in most countries, not North America, unless you build it up until you build it up to the point of 4-star, and then it kicks in automatically. Otherwise, you're going to have to opt in. And so the 3% global bonus pool is paid as such as 4-star directors and above, and 120 people active. And again, go check this thing. But a 3% pool for leaders as we build out this company, that's an amazing income that's going to be exciting as we build out this billion-dollar brand around the world. Same goes along with the founders pool. The founders pool, 60 PV to be active. You got to have at least 5 personally enrolled customers to generate volume. Again, go back to your office. It's going to vary by country. But that global pool, you want to be a part of that long term. When I saw what we were putting together, and I realized that this, we were building a business that's going to last for generations to come. Of course, I wanted to be part of those 2 pools. And then the last part is the rank advancement bonuses based on hitting new ranks. And you guys, again, you can go look at the chart. It lists out the different ones. There's different steps along them that reward certificates and tokens, and it goes to to dollar amounts all the way up as you expand this thing out. And so. Final thoughts on the comp plan. Let me just hit a couple of these, and then we'll wrap up with this. The first thing is this: you don't have to understand all of the bonuses to get paid. Again, that's the beautiful thing about this. If you want to dig into the details, that's great. A lot of people on my team don't want to do that. So if they get somebody who wants to know the details, they either shoot them a video of mine or get me on a call with them, and I'm happy to do that. Whether you do them or not, if you create the whether you know them or not, if you do the volume, you're going to get paid for it, and that's what it's about. Remember to keep the focus on the things that really make our business grow, and that's registering somebody new and sharing your story. That's really what we're doing. Is people out there are hurting? They're hurting health-wise. They're hurting financially. Their social circles have kind of dried up over the last couple of years as we went through this pandemic, and people want to make more money. They want to be healthy. They want to get around like-minded people, and if you just continue to share that, again, you're going to get paid, and you're going to move your way up the ranks. And your success is also going to be based on what you do. I know people over the years have called and said, well, Lance, if you just put more people on my team, or if I could get more spillover, build this as though no one's there to help you. And I'm telling you, I had, just as a personal level, my first 20 years, I had dozens of people that had two massive legs, and then the compensation plan that was worked. Because those legs got too big, it was broke out. It was a unilevel breakaway. Their income dropped, and they made very little income off of two legs. You could have just two legs over here that you build, and if the volume in there maxes out the comp plan, I mean, you can have a 7-figure income with really building two massive legs. And so build it. You build it as though. Just build it knowing that it doesn't necessarily matter where it goes, what country it leads to, that if you go do the right things and you create the volume, you're going to go out there and you're going to have it. And if you do have some people that are above you that put people below you, thank them for it, but don't expect it. You're in business for yourself, by yourself, but not for yourself. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. That was easy for me to say. What that means is this: is you've got a lot of people that are part of your support team, that are there to help you, and don't hesitate to ask for help. The beautiful thing about this is, if I started a company here in San Diego, and I asked a restaurant owner or a business owner to help me, they're not going to tell me, because I become competition to them. You don't have competition here. We're here to help you. We want to help you make a lot of money. The sooner you do it, the better. We're here to help you make that happen. And so don't hesitate to ask us. And finally, the story of 3 is just beginning. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Year number 3, year number 4, year number 5. We're attracting some of the greatest leaders around the world. And I will tell you, just in wrapping this up, that we have a couple of events coming up. We have one in Salt Lake that's happening next month, and then we're going to be in Taiwan. Malaysia's going to have the opening, and Taiwan's going to have an opening. And I hope to see you in those locations. I hope that you look at the compensation plan, buy into the vision of what we're putting together here, and you go out there and you spend the next month and a half, 2 months running out there, sharing this idea, and then bring people to those events and have them catch the vision of what we're doing, because the story of 3 is just being written, and we're excited to have you here. We're excited to have you part of it, and we're going to go build something amazing together. So with that, I thank you for sharing the last half hour with me. I hope this helps you as far as getting a better idea of how this works, and I pray that you take the time and understand how important this is to go out there and build this in a big way and leave your legacy. So with that, thank you very much. Take care, and we will see you at one of the events sometime soon. Thanks, everybody.